Hello, wine enthusiasts. Welcome to the Daily Taste for Tuesday, May 24th, 2022. Once white wine grapes have reached the winery, they're usually pressed right away to extract the juice to prepare for fermentation. The juice is then pumped into the fermentation vessel of choice, usually a stainless steel tank. This is a pretty awesome experience to see. The type of press we used for white wines was a pneumatic bladder press. These presses get their name from the balloon-like apparatus inside the press that inflates to put pressure on the grapes and help extract the juice. The bladder press is a long, steel tube-looking machine with two doors on top that slide open and closed. This press has a touchscreen panel that allows the winemaking team to control how long they want to press the grapes and with how much force. The winemaker decides on the sweet spot of just enough pressure to extract the most of the juice, but not too much pressure that the stems and seeds get squeezed and release unwanted bitterness into the juice. The first step of pressing is loading the press with grapes from the macro bins delivered that morning from the vineyard. For especially thick-skinned grapes, the winemaking team may add dried rice hulls to the macro bins prior to dumping them into the press to help with the extraction. Loading the press takes a skilled forklift driver to pick up the bins full of grapes and dump them into the press. It's important that the grapes get into the press and not all over the ground, as grapes on the ground are rarely put into the press to avoid contamination. Once the press is full, the winemaker selects a press cycle and inputs it into the touchscreen, telling the press how long to press the grapes and how much pressure to use. The press starts by rotating a few times and allowing the pre-pressed juice, called the free run, to pour into a sump where it's transferred into the fermentation vessel using a special pump. Once the free run has been drained, the press inflates the inner bladder, delicately pressing the fruit against the inner walls of the tank, extracting the juice. These pressings are meant to be gentle, so our press cycles were 3 hours long. During pressing, the extracted juice flows into a sump where it's pumped into a tank for fermentation. Free run and pressed juice are not always fermented together, as the winemaker may want to do something special with the free run, like make a reserve wine. After the press cycle is done, the winemaker looks inside the press to see if he got all the juice he wanted, or if he wants to run another cycle. If there are a lot of uncrushed berries, the winemaker will press again, so no juice is wasted. Once it's been determined that pressing has completed, the press rotates, allowing the stems, seeds, and grape skins to fall into macro bins where they're loaded onto a truck and used for composting. The final step of the process is cleaning the press. This is the worst part of pressing because someone must climb into the tank with a hose and spray the inside to make sure that all seeds, skins, and stems are removed. This process can easily take an hour, and it's very hard work. Periodically, the press must also be sanitized, which is another arduous task, but it's crucial for keeping unwanted bacteria from getting into the wine. I will post some pictures of the press and some videos of the press in action on the show website at www.obsessedwithwine.net, so you can see what it looks like for yourself. It's really a cool thing to see, not to mention the amazing smells that come from the pressed juice. Tomorrow I'll talk about red wine pressing, as it's done totally different and requires a lot more steps. Thank you very much. I will see you tomorrow for another Daily Taste. Cheers!